Another wild week in Hollywood. We've got He-Man going full sword and loincloth, Liam Neeson doing dad jokes in The Naked Gun, a Fright Night prequel bringing the 1970s vampires to Manhattan, and David Fincher letting Cliff Booth punch his way back into our lives. Plus, there's Superman drama, double Batman, and the Sandman spinning into its final dream. Let's dive into the biggest stories in movies, TVs, and pop culture, and yeah, I'll give you my take along the way. Let's do this. In a surprise bit of casting news, James Gunn's DCU has finally found its Clayface, and no, it's not a hulking CGI blob. British actor Tom Rhys Harries from White Lines and The Gentleman is stepping into the role of Basil Karlo, the classic Golden Age actor turned mud monster. The solo Clayface movie is being developed by horror director Mike Flanagan, the mind behind Dr. Sleep, Midnight Mass, and The Haunting of Hill House. That alone makes this one of the most interesting and unexpected entries in the DCU lineup. This version of Clayface is rumored to lean into psychological horror, with more emphasis on Karlo as a tragic figure, a washed-up actor who turns to monstrous means to regain fame and relevance. Think Phantom of the Opera meets The Fly, but in the DC universe. This is like one of the most exciting DCU movies I'm looking forward to. I think Clayface is an underrated Batman villain, and just having a Clayface movie before a Batman movie means we've got one hell of a script. And with Flanagan behind it, and it maybe actually just going full horror and not just a gritty crime drama with face paint. Also, I'm not familiar with Tom Rhys Harries, but I think casting a relatively unknown actor is a smart choice. It gives the story room to breathe without star baggage. And if they're going full body horror with Shakespeare tragedy, I'm all in. Are you excited for a full-on horror villain movie in the DCU? And do you think Clayface can carry a solo movie the way Joker did? In other DCU news, people online are freaking out that James Gunn's new Superman, played by David Cornsweet, looks like he can bleed a lot. He's taken more punches in trailers than Henry Cavill did in 3 films, but Gunn says this is on purpose, a less invincible, more human Superman who struggles. Personally, I like it. It's hard to do a good movie with almost nearly invincible Superman. It's not interesting. This is basically Superman just starting out, especially in a world full of superheroes already. I think Cavill's Superman was a god, and I think maybe that's a little too much. If Gunn's Kal-El can bleed, maybe we'll actually feel something when he wins. But what do you think? Do you want your Superman to be a god or a guy? Is this the right direction for the DCU? James Gunn has also confirmed there's no formal agreement stopping the DCU from using villains like the Joker, Riddler, or Catwoman, even though the Batman Part 2, it's still happening apparently, has them all. Also, Gunn says Robert Pattinson likely won't be joining the DCU, so expect 2 Batman running around for the foreseeable future. Gunn emphasized that Batman is his biggest issue in all of the DCU right now, as he seeks to ensure the character has a clear purpose within the DCU without duplicating Reeves' version or veering into the campy tone. He's working closely with the writer of The Brave and the Bold, the upcoming DCU Batman film, to develop a unique take on the character. This film, directed by Anya Machete, will introduce a new Bruce Wayne and his son Damian, based on Grant Morrison's comic run. Gunn noted that while he is not writing the script himself, he is deeply involved in shaping the direction of the story. I think it's kind of interesting. They're probably kind of still leaving it open for Pattinson to join the DCU if they can't figure out how to fit Batman into the DCU. And from a studio perspective, it was almost like cannibalizing your own franchise, right? I've never seen where they had multiple live action superhero films release around the same time. But you can't tell me we're not already living in the multiverse already. With dueling Batman, Clayface, it's looking a lot more crowded than Spirit of Halloween on October 31st. But what do you think? Do you think DC should merge the Bat universe, or do you like keeping them separate? Move over, Marvel and DC. Eternia just showed up to flex. Production has wrapped on Masters of the Universe, and we finally have our first look at Nicholas Galitzine as He-Man. And yes, he's got the sword, the abs, and hopefully the cheesy catchphrases. Travis Knight, the guy who made us cry over Origami and Kubo and the Two Strings and made Bumblebee somehow work, is directing. Jared Leto is playing Skeletor, so expect some intense bone structure and even more intense method acting. Camila Mendez, Idris Elba, and Alison Brie rounding out the cast. The film drops June 2026 in theaters before it hits Prime Video, and judging by the size of the cast and He-Man's biceps, this might be Mattel's Dune. Consider me cautiously optimistic about this. Travis Knight brings heart to blockbusters, and Galitzine has the charisma. But Leto as Skeletor? I don't know, there's some stuff coming out about him. This is pretty bad timing for He-Man and Tron. But it could be genius casting, or it could be the cringiest thing since I'm damaged tattoos. But you tell me, are you excited for a Master of the Universe movie, or should we just have left He-Man in the 80s toy chest? What happens when a parasocial love goes off the rails? Lurker, that's what. It's being described as Nightcrawler for the social media age, and based on the trailer, it delivers stalker vibes, influence, toxicity, and probably a lot of unhinged DMs. Theodore Pellerin plays a lonely retail clerk who worms his way into a rising pop star's life. Archie Madekwe co-stars, and movie is releasing it this August. If this movie nails the tone, it could be a social thriller classic, like Ingrid Goes West, but deadlier. Also, Zach Fox is in this. I'm sold. But let me know, are we ready for a movie that drags fandom culture like this? Or will it hit a little too close to home? Netflix's Cliff Booth movie, a spin-off of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, just added Carla Gugino to a cast that already includes Brad Pitt, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, and Elizabeth Debicki. David Fincher's directing, and Quentin Tarantino wrote the script. Yes, you read it all correctly. The plot's under wraps, but Cliff's rumored to be working as a Hollywood fixer this time, which is just a fancy way of saying Brad Pitt punching more people in vintage t-shirts. It's almost like Hollywood is making movies just for me, giving more aging stuntmen solving problems with charm and violence. But what do you think? Are you into expanding the Tarantino-verse, or should Cliff Booth have ridden off into the sunset with this pit bull? Fright Night is back, in book form. Horror author Michael Harbron is writing an official prequel novel with the blessing of Tom Holland, the director, not Spider-Man. Set in gritty, groovy 1970s Manhattan, this version will blend cult horror with the classic Americana vibes. The book is called Fright Night, and it will explore the events before the original movie. Expect vampires, paranoia, sleaze, disco, and dread. This sounds killer to me. I love when cult horror franchises expand the lore without rebooting the soul out of it. This might be the vampire fix interview and the vampire fans have been craving for. Would you read a Fright Night prequel, or are you more of a movie-only horror fan? It's finally here, the Naked Gun Reboot trailer. Liam Neeson goes full Taken mode until he's smacking villains with their own limbs, firing his gun to skip bathroom line, and trying not to poop in his pants in front of civilians. He plays Frank Drebin Jr., son of the legendary Leslie Nielsen character, and he's joined by Pamela Anderson, Paul Walter Hauser, and CCH Pounder. Oh, and it's directed by the Lonely Island's Akiva Schaffer, so you know it's got the right level of absurdity. This is either going to be the funniest reboot of the decade or the reason we never get another spoof again. I only say that because Akiva Schaffer's other movies, Pop Star, Never Stop Stopping, and MacGruber were box office bombs, but gained a cult following after that. I'm sure it's going to be good, but I'm pulling for it to make some cheddar. And Neeson's deadpan delivery might be so wrong, but it's actually so right. But it's kind of hard for me, especially growing up on the Naked Gun movies, for him to replace Leslie Nielsen. Leslie Nielsen just had like the perfect spoof leading man characteristics. But what do you think? Can Liam Neeson pull off slapstick? Or is it just another dad joke disaster waiting to happen? Finally, Netflix dropped the trailer for The Sandman Season 2, and it looks epic. Dream faces off against gods, monsters, and his own mistakes. Storylines from Season of Mist and Brief Lies will be covered across 11 episodes, with a bonus death episode at the end. I loved the first season, and it took a while for this to come out. It's the final season, so this is it for us. And I thought the show was like prestige fantasy done right. It's dark, it's weird, it's poetic, and somehow makes endless exposition feel cool. It's just a shame that Neil Gaiman turned out to be such a huge piece of shit. But from, separating the art from the artist, I'm looking forward to this. I think it's going to be great, and it's a shame that it has to end, but I understand why. But let me know, are you all in on the Sandman, or did you drift off somewhere between dream and desire? Which story had you the most hyped? He-Man, Clayface, Sandman? Or maybe you're just here for Liam Neeson beating people with arms like a Looney Tune? Drop your takes below, fight me, debate me, tell me how you feel, and hey, subscribe for more cult hits and atomic flicks. Like, share, and ring the bell so you don't miss any more deep dives. Until next time, stay weird and stay watching.